So we've been talking a lot, lots of awesome stuff, and before we get diving in, I just want to say, without putting too much pressure on today, this is like my favorite thing to talk about because I think it might be the most important thing for any musician, regardless of what you play. This is like the thing to know. If you can do this, you can say, I have musicianship that is worth mentioning. It's just really, really important what we're going to do today. So. Just want to throw that out there to just make your brain salivate a little bit. But before we do that, I'm actually just going to share with you from my heart just something I felt the Lord just asked me to share with you tonight. So we'll do this quickly because we have lots of great stuff to get to. I'm just going to read this verse. It's Matthew 28, 5 and 6. It's going to seem a little strange at first, but I think it's a pregnant phrase that has a key built into it that we have to talk about tonight. But the angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where he lies." So let me read that one more time for you. But the angel said to the woman, "Do not be alarmed, or do not be afraid." I have the Amplified. I love the Amplified. If you have the Amplified Bible, it's just amazing. "For I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He is risen, as he said. Come see the place where he lay." So what I'd love to talk about tonight is just kind of stems off of a little, like I said, a little pregnant phrase that I feel in here is for us, where this woman's coming, and she's coming to find Jesus. And she's found him before, and she knows where she left him. And she goes to that place, that familiar place where she just always finds him. And he's just there waiting, and there he is, and she just goes, and this time, he's not there. This time, he's not there. But she gets this word from the angel who says, he's not here, he's risen. Come see the place, basically, where he is. Come see where he is. And the reason why I think it's an awesome phrase for us today, an awesome concept for us to think about, is I think sometimes we can get stuck doing the things that worked yesterday. Sometimes we can get stuck pursuing God the way we pursued him yesterday because it worked yesterday. And sometimes we have that, and if you're older in the room, I'm sure you've had this encounter where you go back to the place where you found him last, and you're just not finding him. And it's like, what is going on here? And it's because he's moved. The truth is, Jesus is alive, and he moves. He moves around, and if we're to be followers of Christ, it means we're moving. You know, I think we're angry at the Pharisees, and they get a bad rap sometimes, like they're just these horrible, evil people. They're not. They're really not. You know who they are? They're people who liked the program the way it was. That's all. Just people who kind of liked the way it was. They couldn't sign up to follow somebody, because to follow somebody means you have to move. And they just weren't into doing something that they hadn't done a whole bunch of times before. You know, it's like God is moving. What does it say? He says, you look at the wind. You can't see it, but you can hear it. You can hear it go by, and you can feel it on your skin, but you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know where it's going. So are all those who are born of the Spirit. So are all of those who are born of the Spirit. And I think sometimes we just need the reminder that it's in the pursuit of God and staying absolutely desperate to hear a word from him in order to move forward that we really get to live the supernatural life that we're called to live. I think of Joshua, who was just this awesome father of the faith, and I just picture him sitting around a circle with his war guys, these guys who've just been around forever. They just know every war tactic. They know they probably all play chess, and they're just awesome war guys, and they're sitting around a circle. And Joshua says, okay, what are we going to do with this Jericho people? What are we going to do? It's a problem. They're our enemy, And they said, well, I have this strategy. It's worked for me 20 times before. This is just war strategy. This is how we should do it. And Joshua says, well, wait a minute. Let's ask the Lord, And they say, oh, that's true. All right, so Lord, we don't want to get ahead of you. We don't want to get behind you. So just bless our conversation as we just, okay, amen. So I have this strategy that was really going to And sometimes we do that. We really do. We kind of invite him in like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. If you got something to say, you go ahead and say it. Hopefully it'll be loud enough for me to hear, but here's where I'm going. Gosh, I hope it works, And Joshua said, no, I'm going to actually inquire of the Lord. That means I'm going to wait until I hear his voice, and whatever he says to do, that's what I'm going to do. Because there is no victory apart from hearing that voice and doing what he's asking you to do. I don't care what worked yesterday or the day before. And so there's sometimes just, for me, myself, I just have to remember that you can get in this pattern where you just kind of, well, this is how I do it, and I've been leading worship for a long time, and I do this little process in my head, and somehow we just miss the element of, I have no idea what to do. I am unequipped to make any spiritual decision outside of the Father and outside of his voice telling me what to do next. We just have to maintain that desperation that says, I can't look to what has happened. I have to look, forgetting what's behind, I have to press on towards the upward calling. So I'm just going to give you this analogy because it helps me. Let's say there's this guy who goes whale watching, right? And he just loves to go whale watching. So one day he sets out on his boat and he's got his instruments and he's searching and he's out there and he's looking and he doesn't see. And then he sees like way in the distance, he sees like a tail go. Okay, so he runs the boat over there, gets over there, he's looking around, he's waiting. He sees it over in the distance again. So he gets in the boat, goes over, he's waiting. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden he hears, and he knows takes out his camera, and right there, right in front of him, just snap. Just, oh man, that was incredible. So he marks the time. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. He marks his position. Okay, awesome. Sets up anchor, goes to sleep. That next morning, it's 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I'm in the right spot. Here we go. Got the camera, and where's the whale? And I feel like if that whale could talk, he'd say, you silly, silly man. No. If the whale could talk, he'd say, it wasn't in the calculation. It wasn't in the position. It wasn't in the time of day. It wasn't in, what worked yesterday. The only reason you found me is because you sought after me. You sought after me. And in the seeking after me, you ended up in the right spot to see me, to have the encounter. And I feel like sometimes we seek this encounter from the Lord the way we sought it and the way it worked for us. Has anybody know what I mean when you've gone through a season in your Christianity where there's just favor on a certain way of doing things, and then suddenly the favor's gone and the Lord's just calling you to a deeper place? It's not going to work that way anymore. You got to go deeper if you want to go up. It's like Pastor Zarlingo said on Sunday, where he was saying like there's a giant set of stairs, but they're so big that they're like, it's a mile straight, a mile up, a mile straight, a mile up. And he was saying, somebody runs into that wall and they're like, man, I can't go forward anymore. But basically what the stairs are saying is, if you want to go forward, you have to go up. Basically, that's what it's saying. If you want to continue to move forward, you have to go up from where you are, and that's change. It's change, and change stinks. Nobody likes change. People pretend they like change. Nobody likes change. It's tough. It's tough to change. It's nice to settle back into what I've always done and what has always worked. And it's funny with music. I mean, just trying to stay continuously engaged in the music that the Lord is birthing in the earth right now. I mean, so quickly you're just out of the loop. Suddenly it's like, I don't even know who's right now the person that everybody's going, oh, the anointing is on this guy. I'm like, I never even heard of him before. It's just such a quick turnover. So you always have to be on your feet. Anyway, so the guy goes whale watching, right, finds the whale. So what's the interpretation of the parable? I feel like if we're going to seek God and we're going to seek those encounters and we want to go deeper and deeper with him, it's never going to be, well, last time I read my Bible and it worked. Last time I went in here for 15 minutes and he met me at the end of 15 minutes. What happened? You find him because you're pursuing him. And in the pursuit, you change your location. You change where you're at spiritually. You change your state of mind as you're just seeking after him. You get in that place where you're like, Lord, I don't care what happens. I don't care where I have to go. I don't care what I have to change. I need you. I have a fire that burns for more of you. And then all of a sudden, at the end of that process, you're set up for the encounter. You're where you're supposed to be. But it's that process, So that's for you. I hope the Lord just really laid on my heart strong to say that. So I hope somebody just was like, yeah, that's what I needed to hear. I wish I didn't hear it, but you said it and I heard it. So that's that. May it be a blessing to you or a challenge, whichever one it is. They're both good. All right, so who's ready? This is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome. Yes, you're ready. Seth gave me a hand. I'm ready. Okay, so if you'll look at the sheet in front of you, first of all, let's review a little bit. So we've been going over some, say again? Oh yeah, everyone has the sheet, right? It says Melodic ear training on the bottom of it. It just has a bunch of numbers on it. Yep, if you don't have one, there's one just right back there on the music stand. Awesome. So let's just review. We've been talking about different functions of music, and there are 4. We've talked about 2, and we're in the middle of the 3rd. What's the first one? Say again? Beds, yes, creating beds. If you missed it, you can go online and grab it. The second one was what? Groove, creating a groove, right? Those are both part of the background of music, right? They set the stage. And now we're in the middle of what? Anybody remember? We talked about it just a bit last time. Yes, lead. We're talking about leading. So that's when you make melodies, and just a recap of leading, that means that the stage has been set by the groove and the bed, and they're kind of in place, and now the eye's looking for somewhere to focus, or I should say the ear is looking for somewhere to focus, and so the lead person comes out, even if it's just for a second or it's for a whole section or whatever it is, to consciously take the ear on purpose of the listener and to play something deserving of attention. Okay? Now that can be hard. Some people have different standards of what is deserving of attention. Some people create a melody, they learn a pentatonic scale and they're like, look, I can just put my fingers here and it makes this sound that kind of sounds familiar. It's deserving of your attention. Everyone listen. But there are some serious keys that help you create melodies that are inspired. Really, really great melodies. And that's going to help us just be better at that leading function. And it's really just wonderful. When I think really prophesying on your instrument or prophesying through your voice, I think there's a huge part of it that comes through the melodies. When David played his harp, we talk about this often, the distressing spirit left Saul. He didn't say in Jesus' name, he didn't say anything, but this melody just came from him. It was in tune with the Holy Spirit, and he released this melody that was anointed. It was what the Holy Spirit, it was in tune with what he was doing. Basically, he was allowing himself to be played by the Holy Spirit, like an instrument. And suddenly he released this sound that just had an anointing on it. It was an inspired melody. And all of a sudden, demons are leaving. I mean, it's really, really awesome. I believe with all my heart, and I've said it before, that we're going to see a company of people that just empty hospitals with their instruments. They just come in and they're so connected with the Lord. They're just so on the same heart page with the Lord that as they play, the Lord just speaks through their instruments and through their voices, and just people are just getting healed all over the place. So that's going to be fun, huh? That's where we're going. So first things first, we have to pair the spiritual with the practical, right? We want the Lord to do everything that he can do, but first we got to do everything that we can do to make room for him to come in and do the rest. So we're going to talk about how to practically make melodies that sound inspired. Okay, so this is huge. This is really important. I'm going to try to explain it as clear as I can. It's a little ambiguous, so hang in there with me. I'm warning you already. You're going to have to kind of help me along and kind of apply all of your brain cells to try to just grasp this. Not that it's that crazy, but it's just a really, really important concept. So, has anybody ever seen Spider-Man 2? Spider-Man 2, the bad ones with Tobey Maguire. Anybody seen this? Okay, so the bad guy in that movie is Dr. Octopus. Does anybody know about Dr. Octopus? You've heard of him before? Okay, so he's this guy who has these metal arms. He was a scientist. He's got these metal arms, and the metal arms have an actual intelligence of their own. In fact, they're so intelligent that there's actually a chance that they could, as they mingle, because he has them like in his spine, like with like these weird things, so it's like part of him, like an extension of him, and he's using his brain to control them, but they are so intelligent that there's a fear that they could actually take over his brain, so they have this little chip in place. I don't know if you remember all this, I'm a nerd. But they have this little chip in place, and the chip keeps his brain in control of their brain, right? But of course, in this epic movie, what happens? The chip breaks, right? It gets like blown up, and he becomes this evil Dr. Octopus with all this, bad intent and all that stuff. Okay, so why am I sharing that? Here's why. Because, and this is primarily for instrumentalists, just for this 2 minutes, because it is very easy on your instrument to learn where to put your fingers to create the scale you're allowed to use, or the notes that are going to sound good, because they're a pentatonic scale or whatever it is, and it becomes very easy for you to memorize non-sonically, but just visually, tactilely memorize where your fingers can go, and suddenly you're playing and you're kind of just saying, I think I'll put my finger here now because I know that's allowed, and then I think I'll put my finger here now because I know that's allowed, because I memorized that little scale that I know I'm allowed to play, and all these notes should come out sounding good. Yeah, they sound pretty good. Yeah, that's awesome. And you're as surprised as everyone else is to hear that melody when it finally comes out and hits your ears. It's as surprising to you as it is to everyone else. Wow, look at that. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Hey, fingers, you did a great job. Right? So there's something about that rings false in the ears of the listener. Because the truth is, your hand is not, it doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have, feelings. It can't connect with God. It's like, if your fingers are creating melodies, like Dr. Octopus's arms, right? It's just not going to sound inspired. It's just not going to sound inspired. As opposed to, I hear a melody in my head. The chords are playing. The groove is set. The bed is set. All those musical elements are in place. And I hear a melody that just on top, I could just hear it. I just pinpoint the notes. Oh, that would be perfect. And I force my hand to play that exact melody that I heard in my head. Now that's much tougher. That's much, much tougher for you to say, okay, my brain is going to come up with the melody that's going to be heard, and my hand is going to be the slave that does whatever it has to do to get that melody to come out. So that when it comes out, I'm not as surprised as everyone else at what it sounds like, because I envisioned it here, and I forced my hand to play exactly what I envisioned. Is everybody with me? You kind of know what I'm saying? Should I say that one more time? Absolutely. That's right, absolutely. So you want your hands to be as strong as possible in this scale. You want them to just know it backwards and forwards. You want it to just be like so easy as a vocabulary, and then you want them to do it when your brain tells them to do it. You know what I mean? So you want them, it's like, you want to, like you would want to work out your arm, get it as strong as possible, but you wouldn't want it to control your brain. You would still want your brain to tell your arm what to do. So it's kind of like that. No, you are. If you're working your hand and your hand's like, okay, I'm getting backwards and forwards, this is really, it's under my fingers, it's feeling natural, you are almost there. This is just the other piece. And let me tell you something, honestly, this might be a little tough to grasp at first, but if you grasp this and this one concept, and you never learn another musical concept in your life, you will be asked to play with every worship team you know. If you know this concept and you can execute this, the people around you are going to go, why does it sound so good when you play? I mean, it's just a simple melody. It's nothing fancy. I'm playing whole notes. You're playing whole notes. You're playing the pentatonic scale. I'm playing the pentatonic scale. And yet I could listen to you all day, and I'm tired of all the stuff I play. It's this concept. Okay, so you ready? Is that a stage set that you're ready to kind of dive into this? Okay, I just see that. I can feel the energy. It's coming right off you. Okay. So take a look at these numbers here. Now, remember, again, we are practicing keeping your brain in control of your hands, okay? Now, this is good for singers as well, because it's difficult in a different reason. It's difficult to kind of try to hear these pitches in your head, but they're important because sometimes we can fall into the same patterns when we're trying to make melodies, right? We kind of fall into these patterns, and if we can sing these patterns, then it'll kind of change it up in our heads, and all of a sudden there'll just be this much larger canvas and much more colors, many more colors to paint with. Okay? So the way this works is to make sure that your hand is not involved. Instead of putting it onto your instrument, we're going to sing it because there's no technical difficulty there. Now you might say, you think there's no technical difficulty there? I can't sing at all. That might very well be true, but it is less technically difficult, believe it or not, than the instrument you play. So if you play an instrument and you feel like, I'm not really a singer, that's totally fine. The point of this exercise is to strengthen your inner ear. Everyone say inner ear. Inner ear. That means you hear melodies, and you don't only hear them, but you can actually pinpoint exactly what they are. That means if I said to you, Comment vas-tu aujourd'hui? Say that back to me. Good. Now, do you know French? No, right? So you can memorize a sound and regurgitate it. And I think sometimes if I said a melody, you might be able to sing that melody back. But there's no understanding that allows you to repeat that same melody later or adjust it as you want to adjust it. You know what I mean? But because I know French, which I don't, that's the one phrase that I've memorized. But if I knew French, I would be able to adjust it because I understand. I understand the structure. I understand the components. I can switch them around. It's not memorizing and regurgitating. There's an understanding. So that's what we're after by doing this exercise. The best way to do it, whether you're an instrumentalist or not, the best way to do it is to sing it. Because you remove the hand altogether, and now this is just straight up, just brain bench pressing. Okay? So take a look at this. The first line says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Now we've talked about the scale. The major scale has 8 notes in it. It's actually 7 because the last note, the 8th note, is the same note as the first note. It's just up an octave. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You started with a C, you end with a C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So all this is asking you to do is sing those notes in a row. So we're going to sing them together. We're all going to be embarrassed together. Nobody listen to each other. Just listen to yourself. And we're just going to go straight up. I'll go first. It'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to sing it backwards. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you ready? And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Backwards. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you can't do that, it's totally fine. We're going to work our way down this list, and wherever you go, ooh, that's where I had trouble, that's the one you work on. And you start there, and you don't move on, because 1 through 10 gets slowly harder. Okay, they're each getting a little bit more difficult. So if at any point you go, yikes, that one totally escaped my brain, I could not do that, fine, that's where you practice. You do that one until you can get it totally down. Last thing I'm going to say, because then we're just going to hit the road. We're going to leave this place all sweating. We're going to be sweating because this is just a workout coming right now. But before we do it, last thing. Do you have room in your brain for one last thing? Yes? Last thing, I'm going to say it in 30 seconds. If you look at, let's say, number 2, you see how there's this overarching thing for 1, 2, 3? You see that little curve? And then there's another one, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. What would be next? 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, right? So you can see it actually becomes a pattern. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Because it becomes a pattern, as soon as your ear picks up on the pattern and can reproduce it without thinking, the practice kind of stops. You're not really getting better after that. I'll give you an example. Here's what number 2 sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I get it. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. You see what I'm saying? Now my ear picks it up. Oh, I can keep that pattern going. As soon as that happens, your opportunity to practice and have your brain get a little bit stronger kind of goes away. So as you're practicing these at home, you're going to come to 2, and you're going to forget that that's what it sounds like. You're going to forget, and all you're going to see is those numbers, and you'll have to figure the whole thing out again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Okay, at this point I go, oh yeah, I remember what it sounds like. 5, 4, na, da, na, 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 na. Right? At that point you can kind of move to the next one or move to a different one. Because as soon as you get to that point where you go, ba-da-dee, da-da-da, da-da-da, I get this. That's kind of now not really practice for your brain. But what is practice? You can still finish that run, right? You don't have to stop halfway through because it's still good practice to think the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, 8, right? Just to finish it and kind of get the numbers in your head. And you notice that I never finished a sequence, right? It always says etc. That's so that you can think the rest of the pattern. Understand the way the pattern goes and think the rest of it and do the rest in your head. So don't take this home and write in the finishing of these patterns. Instead go, okay, etc. So that means there's a pattern here, and you just have to do the pattern in your head, think the numbers, and finish it in your head. Can you do that? Yes? Awesome. Okay, one more time. Let's do number 1. 1. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Backwards. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. One more time without me. Ready? 1. 1, 2. Good. Backwards. You guys are champs. You guys are champs. Awesome. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. Let's try it for fun. Ready? Let's just go for it. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. Keep going. 5, 6, 7. 8, and we kind of like to end on 8 because it sounds like dough and it sounds like home base. So, okay, excellent. What was I going to say? 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you get the idea, right? As the numbers go up, your notes have to go up. As they come back down, they have to go down, but they can't just go up or down in a random interval. They have to be that exact note. So let's do this for fun. Here's 1. Okay, sing 1 for me. Good. Sing 2. Good. Sing 3. 2. Right, because you have to go back down, right? 1. 3. 2. 1. 3. 2. 3. 4. 5. 4. 3. 2. Excellent. Okay, see how this works? So each of those notes have their own little notch. 5. Hey, not bad at all. If you can't do that yet, that's totally fine. That's like halfway down this list. Good. Sing that one more time. 5. Good. 4. 3. 1. Good. You see how you had to skip over 2, right? So you had to go a little bit further down than you thought. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. 1, 3. Tough. This is tough. Sing 1, 2, 3. Good. Sing 1, 3. Good. Sing 5. Sing 1. 5. 1, 3, 5. 5, 3, 1. Good. Okay, you see how this works, right? So you're starting to actually create these little pegs in your brain where you're feeling what 1 sounds like. It's not just these endless notes now that go ba-da-dee-da-da, up and down and up and down and up and down. You're starting to go, 1 sounds like this, 3 sounds like this, 2, 4, 3, 5. And you start to have these little notches. Okay, that's what we're after. So let's do number 2, but we'll go backwards. We'll start with 8. So you see the second half of 2, going backwards. 8. Ready? And go. 8, 7, 6, 7, 6, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 4. Do the math. 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 0, 1. Okay, now there is no 0. So what we do is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is the same as 1. So 9 is the same as 2. And 10 is the same as 3. So what we do is 1 and 8 are the same. So what's 1 behind 8? 7. So what's 1 behind 1? It's 1, 7, 1, because 1 is the same as 8. So 1, 7, 1. So do this for me. I'll go first. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 7, 1. Excellent. Let's look at number 3. Again, don't be discouraged. Wherever you are, if you already went, no, I'm already lost on 2, that's fine. That's the one you work on. But let's go to 3 for fun. Why is 3 a little bit harder than 2? Because 3 includes a skip. You got to skip in order to do number 3. So get ready. Here we go. 1 and go. 1, 2, 3. Good. 2. Good. 3. Do the math. 4. Good. 5. Good. 6. Good. 8, 9, 7, and 8. Excellent. You always got to feel good about that 8 at the end. Okay, number 3 backwards. Now, I want you to think this one to yourself, and I want you to hum it in a way that you can clearly hear yourself. Let me say that again. I want you to hum number 3 going backwards in a way that you can clearly hear yourself, but that you are also sure that no one else can hear you. This way you are testing just yourself, because it's very easy. I remember in my choir days when I didn't know my part, and the person next to me, 1, 2, 2, 3. You just kind of latch on to what they're doing. So this is your opportunity. You're going to sing at a volume that you know you can hear yourself clearly, but the people around you can't hear you, okay? So that, now you can be a little louder than you think, because remember, they're singing. So they would have to hear you over their own singing, you know what I mean? Over their own humming. So just make sure you can hear yourself. All right, here we go. Number 3. So we're starting up at 8, and we're going to go backwards. Do you see where it says 8, 7, 6, 8? Right? So we're starting here. So I'm going to do the motions with my hand, and you're going to think. So just memorize 8, 7, 6, 8. Picture it in your head. It looks like this. Right? Here's your first note. Now just hum it to yourself. Ready? Go. Good, and you should end right back up here. Who ended all the way up here again? Good, good. Let's do that again. Ready? Go. Good, now we're going to start on 7. We're going to say 7, 6, 5, 7. Ready? Go. Good. Let's go half volume. Do that one more time. Half volume. Good. Here's 6. Try it at 6. Ready? Go. Good. Now say the numbers to yourself. So you're still humming. It's still super, super quiet. But instead of humming, say the numbers. 6. Ready? Go. Good. Keep going down. Keep going. Good. Good. And 1. Okay, now, some of you might be saying, I kind of get this, and it kind of feels confident when everyone else is in the room, and this is awesome, and then you're going to go home and go, okay. So, there was a 1. I know there was a 1. How do we do this? Okay, and it's going to be hard, but that's what you're practicing. Okay, so if you have to go all the way to the beginning and go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, then do it. That's awesome. Get it perfectly in tune. Just get it until it's just in your system and you just got it totally down, okay? Let's move to number 4, shall we? Now, number 4 is a little bit harder than 3. Why? Because you have to skip to a note you haven't sung yet. See that? It's not 1, 2, 3, and back to 1. Now it's 1, skip to 3, which you haven't sung yet, 2, 1. Okay, so you see here how that expands your ear just a bit more? So I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Do it in your head, but slightly loud enough that you can hear yourself. We'll start with this pitch. Ready? Go. How'd you do? Let's do it again. Ready? And. Good, and we're saying those numbers just ever so slightly. 2, start on 2. Here's 2. Ready, go. Good, do that one more time. 2, 4, 3, 2. Good, go back to 1 and go. Next. Next. Good. Now, let's say I'm playing bass, and I go, ba-da-dum-da-dum. What did I just play? Three, two, 1, 2, 3. Da 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 da. Let's say I started on 3 and I went da da da. What did I play? Think about it now. Stay with me. If I start on 3 and I go da da da, what am I doing? 3, 4, 5. Let's say I go start on 5 and I go ba da. 5, 1. So now that you know what that is, you can put 5, 1 under your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know the major scale, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you hear me go ba-dum. And now you on your instrument can go ba-dum. It's not a guessing thing where it's like, well, I'll play some of these notes because I know those are right. Your brain thinks of it first, says, I know what I want to hear. I know what would be a good musical choice in this moment. Dee-dum. And now you force your hand to play what your brain thought of. See how this starts to really be awesome? So, ba-da-dee-da-dee, 8, 7, 6, 5, 6, da-da-da-da-dum. And you start to be able to put it into your instrument. So we'll stick with 1 to 8. Now again, you can keep going up and you keep going down. Ba-da-da-da-da. Right? There's all kinds of different registers. But if we were just going to stick with 1 to 8. Right? Somebody sing a melody. Jeff, give me one. So you start to be able to do ba-da-dee-doo-bum, ba-da-da-da-dum. So what comes to your mind, you can now put right into your instrument, but it's through this process. First it has to be crystal clear in your head what it is. Then you can transfer it to your hand. So you feel confident, you feel like you're in authority, you know what's up, you know what you want to hear, and then you go to your hand, you do what I tell you to do. You get the idea. Okay, let's go to number 5. Now this one's tough because it's a whole lot of skips. You don't get to walk around a little bit to get your bearings. You kind of have to skip all the time. So we'll start with 1. And let's do this one out loud together. Ready, go. 1. Good. Now the numbers are very important. Make sure you're not messing up these numbers. Okay, they're going to start to 5, 7, 1, 1, 8. So just make sure you're keeping up on these numbers here. Now we're going to do that same one again. 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 4, 6. I'm going to cut you off and ask you to sing a number. Okay? Ready? 1, go. 1. Pause. Sing 6. 5. 4. 3, 2, 1. Good. So that's an awesome key. Once you start going, I recognize the pattern. I can hear that I'm not each note trying to find 5 and find 7. I can just hear in my ear. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. As soon as you feel that happen and you know you're not really practicing, you can stop yourself anywhere and say, sing a nearby note. And that'll just help you kind of get your brain back engaged with actually always trying to hear where you're at. Okay, let's do that one more time. Backwards. 8, 6. Okay, ready? Go. Pause. 6. 4, 5, 3. Keep going. 4, Sing 3, 5, 8. Awesome. Let's go to number 6. Now this one's tough because the skips keep getting a little bit larger each time. Okay, so let's try this. 1, ready, go. 1, 2. Beautiful. Backwards. Good. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to stop you at some point and ask you to sing a random number. 1, 2, 1, 3. Ready? Go. 1. Good. Pause. Let's start one more time. 1. Go. 1, 2. 1. 5. 1, 5. 4. 1. 3. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 5. 6. 7. 8. Good. Let's go backwards. 8, 7. Ready, go. 8, 8. 5. Let's do that one more time. We'll go all the way down to 3 and back to 5. 8. Ready, go. 8, 8, 6, 8, 8. 5. Not bad. Let's do that one last time. Ready? 8, 8, 7, 8. Oh, sorry. I forgot what we were doing. One more time. Ready, go. 8, 7, 8, 6. 5. Sing 8, 3. 8, 3. Sing it again. 8, 3. 8, 4. 8, 5. 8, 4. 8, 3. 8, 5. 8, 3. 8, 2. 8, 1. Good. Now, that was awesome, by the way. Number 7 is a little more difficult because you have to go 1, 2, 1, then a jump. So you have lots of stuff you have to think about. 1, 2, 1. So you lose track of where you were. 1, 2, 1. And now find that leap. Let's see if we can do it. 7. Are you hanging in there? I know we're sweating, but I'm telling you, your brain right now, if you could see it, it's just expanding. 7. 1, 2, 1. Ready, go. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. Beautiful. Backwards. 8, 7, 8, 6. 8, 7, 8, 5. 5. 5. Let's do it again. 8, 7. Ready, go. 8, 6, 8, 8, 7, 8, 4, 8, 7, 5, 4, 8, 3, 2, 3, 3, 8, 7, 8, 2, and 1. Good. Now, some of you, probably the majority of you, are saying, I've found the one that I'll be going home and working on. But number 8 is very important. Number 8 is like huge milestone. If you get to number 8, you pretty much are like, you're there. Because that's when you can actually go 1 and you just remember that 6 sounds like this. 1, 3, 1, 7, 1, 5, 1, 2. See, now you have no hints at all. You just got to know that that's what that note sounds like. Now, here's a couple hints for you. Look at the first one. 1, 6. 1, 6. What's the famous hint? N, B, C. So if you think that melody to yourself, boom, boom, boom. That's a sixth. Ba-da. Or my bunny flies over the ocean. Okay, so that's six. Ba-dum. 1, 3. Ba-dum. And I always just think of hello, 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 like those guys. Hello. You know, those like cheesy barbershop guys. Hello, hello. 1, 3. 1, 7. Ba. Well, let me hear 1, 8. Ba, ba. Right? That's an octave. Ba, ba. Somewhere over the rainbow. That's a good octave thing to memorize. 1, 8. So it's very complete. It's very full sounding. But 7 is like just shy of 8, and it's horrible. It's just this like tension-y tension. But of course, if a movie didn't have tension, it wouldn't be worth watching, right? So it adds tension, but we got to memorize this note. So it's not all the way up to 8. 1, 8. It's just shy. 1, 7. That's 1, 7. Sing that with me. Ready? Go. 1. Good. Let's do 1, 6. NBC. 1, 6. Do it again. 1, 6. Good. Let's do the hello, hello, hello. 1, 3. Hello, hello, 3, good. And now let's go back to 1, 7. It's not 8, it's just shy. Ready, go. 1, 7. Excellent. Then we have 1, 5. 1, 5. What's the good one for 5? Oh, bum, bum, ba-da-doo-dee, dun. Star Wars, da-da-doo-doo. So 1, 5. If it sounds like that, if it sounds like Star Wars, it's 5. 1, 5. 2 is easy. It's just right in a row. 1, 2. Right, 1, 2. 8, 1, 8. And then 4 is Here Comes the Bride. 1, 4, 4, 4. Ba-dum. So those are good ones, honestly, to help you remember, because at first you'll just need that little thing. Well, you'll hear ba-dum. You go boom, beam, bum. That's NBC. It's got to be a sixth. Ba-dum. Okay, so I'm going to sing one. You tell me what it is. Okay? Ba 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 dum da dum. 1, 4. Da da. 1, 2. Ba da. Boom, boom. Do, ba, ba, da, do, dee. 5, 1, 5. Boom, boom. 3, hello, hello. So you start to figure out where these notes are. Now, when somebody goes, ba, da, da, dum. 1, 6, 5, 3. Ba, da, dee, dee, dum. 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 2, 1, 6. See, because you know the numbers, you know the placement, you know where they sit in line, and you can now find them on your instrument, you can find them in your voice, you recognize what they sound like. Somebody can play something, you can play it right back. That's a great test to see how you're doing on this. If somebody plays something and you can play it right back to them, that's an awesome test. Now here's what's important. You got your instrument out, and somebody goes, ba-da-dee-dee-doo, and you go. Got it? Right? Hunting and pecking is the opposite of the skill you're working on. So if your tendency is to go, oh, I know that melody, and you just try it, and no, that's not, well, here it is. Got it. Right? That's no good. That's the opposite of what you're working on. You got to know it here before it ever gets to your hand. You do all the math here. So you're just like, I know exactly what this melody is. I know what the numbers are. I know where to put my fingers to get those numbers. And then your hand comes into play. And slowly you try to get that process as quick as possible so that it becomes instantaneous, like it is for language, like it is for words. Okay, last but not least, let's try number 8. And that's all I'll give you. And then we'll go ahead and move on. Say again? Oh, yes, but we're going to do 8 like for real. We're going to really go ahead and just do what we can with 8. Ready? 1, here's our 1. Now, when you're at home, you might have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 6. You might have to do that for a while before you can just recognize 1, 6. Then your next step will be, I think I remember what it is. I think it's 1. I don't have to count this time. 1, 6. How do I know if I'm right? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep, I'm right. See how that works? 1, 7. I think I'm right. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nope, I wasn't right. Okay, see how that works? Okay, let's try 1, 6. Here we go. And go. 1, 6. Good. 1, 3. 1, 3. Good. Let me hear 1, 6. 1. 1, 5. Good. So it can't be that. Let's do 1, 3. Nice. 1, 3. Next. 1, 7. Good. 1, 5. Good. 1, 2. Good. 1, 8. Good. And 1, 4. Good. That's a weird one. 4 is hard. 1, 4. You can think, here comes the bride. I think it's 4. I think this is right. Let me check. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep, it's right. Okay, see how that works? So I'm going to say a random number now. Ready? And you're going to go 1 and then that number. Here's your 1. Let's go 1, 5. Wow. You're already on 8. That's impossible. It took me years to get to 8. I hate you people. Just kidding. 1, 5. Very nice. 1, 2. Nice. 1, 8. Good. 1, 6. Good. Sing 1, 5. Good. So it can't be that. Let me hear 1, 6. Nice. How about 1, 3? Good. 1, 7. Good. Let me hear 1, 7 again. Good. It's really high. One more time. Good. And 1, 4. Yes. Here comes the bride. Raise your hand if you have even 1% out of 100 success on one of these. Good. Then you're doing awesome because this is really, really hard stuff. It's really, really hard stuff. So here's what I'm going to say to you is once you get to 10 and you can sing all of 10, 1, 3, 5, 1, 4, 6, 1, 3, 6, 2, 5, 7, 3, 5, 8, 3, 6, 8, 4, 6, 8, 5, 7, 2, 5, 8, 3, 6, 8, 3, 6, 8, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8. If you can do that, then you can pretty much, that means from that moment on, you'll never be a slave to, I think I learned this, someone taught me this one time, these notes work, right? Suddenly all of that will just be, you just own it. It'll just be in your brain. You can make actual, educated, really nice musical decisions. And when you come up with a melody and you play it on your instrument, it didn't come from a hand, it came from your mind. So people are immediately going to go, that sounded awesome. Why? Because it was inspired. It came from your mind. It came from a human being. It came from a soul. It didn't come from a hand. Do you know what I mean when I say that? I know that's a little bit kind of a weird concept to wrap your head around. But I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in the world. That's when somebody comes and just plays this little line, and you go, those 3 notes, how did that wrench my heart out, those 3 notes? How is it that those 3 notes just like was the most unbelievable 3 notes I ever heard? Well, because it wasn't like, I know the pentatonic scale. It was like, I know what I want to hear. I want to hear this. And I have the skills to put it in my instrument. See what I'm saying? Awesome. Okay, is your brain thoroughly like oozing out of your ears right now? No? Awesome. Good. Okay, so this is what I'd say. I just tell you to practice. Practice as much as you can. Practice as much as you're kind of just able. And then when you're like, if I practice any more, I'm going to throw myself out the window. Practice 5 more minutes and then call it quits. That's what I'd say. And then you'll just keep getting more and more of an ability to practice for a bit longer each time. And I'm telling you, this is really, really important. So don't when you get home, let yourself be convinced, like, I don't even know what this is. This is so ambiguous. How am I going to apply? This is unapplicable. What is this? This is just a headache. You go back to like, So just don't be tempted to just go back to playing what you know how to play. This is going to be awesome for your brain. Okay, so hope that was helpful for you. It's going to be online if you just are like, gosh, you just need help going through each of them again. You can just go ahead back online and listen to this one more time as I went through them all. And next week we'll probably just take a quick look at 9 and 10. Not that by next week, if you were starting this week and you go, 3 is my number. 3 is my number. It's not that you're going to be at 9 and 10 by the time we meet again next week. But we'll just kind of go over these. The more you do them, the better you get at them. And it's a slow process, so don't beat yourself up. No condemnation. It doesn't help. It doesn't drive you into the practice room. It drives you out of the practice room, honestly. So just don't beat yourself up. It doesn't help.